All right, today we're going to give the oneworld Alliance its 2025 report card. Now, they call themselves the premier global airline alliance, right? But with a pretty wild few years behind them and some big changes on the horizon, we have to ask, are they actually living up to that hype? Let's break it down. So, here's the game plan. We've got 5 key things to look at. We'll kick things off by seeing just how big they are, or, well, how small. Then we'll check out who's joining the club, take a look at the passenger experience on the ground, count up their impressive awards, and finally, we'll deliver our final grade. First up, let's talk about where oneworld really fits in the whole global airline food chain. It's a pretty fascinating story of size versus stature. Okay, so as of 2025, the oneworld Alliance has exactly 15 member airlines. Now, on its own, you might think, hey, 15, that's a decent number. But how does it really stack up against the competition? And yeah, this slide, it really lays it all out. With just 15 members, oneworld is kind of playing in a different league than its biggest rival, Star Alliance, which has a whopping 25. This makes them the definite underdog of the big 3. And for you as a passenger, that can mean fewer ways to get from point A to point B, a less seamless global network. And this is where things get really interesting. Despite being the smallest, oneworld has always branded itself as the premier airline alliance. So you have to wonder, are they just punching way above their weight? Or is this all just some really clever marketing? I mean, the alliance was founded by some of the absolute biggest names in aviation: American, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, and Qantas. But you know, lately, some of these giants have been taking some heat from travelers for things like aging planes, operational meltdowns, and service that's just inconsistent. And that creates a real disconnect when you're trying to sell yourself as the premier choice. So oneworld might be the smallest, but they are definitely not taking it lying down. Actually, they're fighting back by actively growing their team. Let's see who they've been recruiting. And wow, just look at this timeline. They have been incredibly busy. In the last 5 years alone, they brought in Royal Air Maroc and Alaska Airlines, and 2025 was a huge year with both Fiji Airways and Oman Air jumping on board. Even with the necessary suspension of Russia's S7 airlines, it's obvious they're on a major growth spurt. And listen, this isn't just about padding the numbers. These are smart, strategic moves. Fiji Airways opens up these crucial new routes to the South Pacific, and Oman Air gives them a lot more muscle in the Middle East, right there alongside their heavyweight partner, Qatar Airways. Okay, so they're expanding their reach in the air. That's clear. But what about the experience for elite flyers on the ground? Well, let's talk about their airport lounges. Or, for a really long time, the surprising lack of them.
Yeah, I mean, this timeline, it's pretty stark, isn't it? Star Alliance opened its first fully branded Alliance lounge way back in 2007. SkyTeam followed just 2 years later. And oneworld? They only got in the game in 2024. That is a 15-year gap where they were basically letting their competitors define what a premium ground experience was. But they finally did it. They made their move in January 2024, opening a seriously impressive 555 square meter lounge in Seoul. It's a really clear sign they're not just showing up to the party late, they're ready to invest and maybe even surpass their rivals.
And they didn't just stop there. Nope. They didn't waste any time proving this was a new priority. Just 1 month later, boom, a second location opened, this time at Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport. It looks like the game of catch-up has officially begun. So, okay, they were super late to the lounge party, but here's the thing. oneworld has always had an ace up its sleeve, and that's the trophy case that is absolutely stuffed with awards to back up that premier claim. Just look at this number, 15. For an incredible 15 years in a row, oneworld has been named the best airline alliance by the influential publication Global Traveler. They kept that winning streak going right into 2024. That is some serious consistency. And 2024 wasn't just about that one win. It was a massive year for them. They pretty much swept the Best Alliance category at multiple major travel awards. It really seems like whatever shortcomings they have, the industry experts still absolutely love them. And get this, their very first branded lounge in Seoul, it won a major award right out of the gate. It just goes to show you that when oneworld finally decides to do something, they go all in to do it right. All right, we've covered a lot. Their size, their growth, the lounges, the awards. Now it's time for the moment of truth.
Let's pull all this together for our final verdict on the oneworld alliance.
So here's the bottom line. oneworld has a lot going for it. A powerful, award-winning brand, real momentum with new airlines signing on, and some seriously high-quality partners in their corner. But they are still the smallest of the big three, with some big holes in their network map and these lingering questions about whether all their founding members are still pulling their weight. And there's one more major piece to this puzzle. In 2024, a new CEO, industry veteran Nat Piper, took the helm. You really have to wonder, could this fresh leadership be the spark that oneworld needs to finally fix its weaknesses and really take off? So the stage is set. oneworld has the momentum, they have new leadership, and they have a history of winning awards. But is that going to be enough to overcome its smaller size and the challenges coming from its own founding members? Can this underdog truly become the premier alliance it has always claimed to be? The next few years are going to tell the whole story.